Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio. You are about to join a frequency that will open your mind, expand your heart, and activate your spirit. Thank you for joining Kelly Meehan, Spirit Baby Medium and Master Energy Therapist. Kelly believes in the power of the Spirit Baby. She speaks with babies in spirit before life, in the womb, and after life. She supports, teaches, and guides others to tune into the intuitive and mystical parts of life for greater wisdom. Join her in meeting your soul baby and build your connection and relationship with deep love and trust. Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio with your host, Spirit Baby Medium, Kelly.
Welcome to episode 103, December 25th, 2020. New World Energies. Conception Magic, Biology of Consciousness, and Spiritual Endings for 2020. Are you ready to surrender the challenges of 2020? How do you envision your Spirit Baby communication practices for your future and your presence, I should say? What ways can you open your mind and lead by the heart for 2021? So December 25th, 2020, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I feel like December has been an interesting, expansive month for so many people, or we should even say for the whole year. And what does that mean for the connections of conception, fertility, pregnancy, spirit baby communication, and healing through loss? And so as many know, in 2020, there was a big wake-up, right? And without going too deep into the political and the next level of energies all around, this divide that has happened, I want to bring energy to the new world, the new connection, the new awakening. I know the Great Awakening, there's so many different energies connected to that. And when you say that and connect with that, what does this new world look like, right? I feel like that's really important to go into, because if you feel no resonating energy with that, this is where I would challenge you to sit inside the soul of who you are and really move into the spark of your own inner light, to question, and challenge yourself, challenge where your energy is, challenge your thoughts, because there is such persuasive, right, seductive energies of fear, of negativity, and they're overpowering, they're brainwashing, and it's very subconscious. Many people may not even realize it, and the fear becomes really the sickness, and the antidote is your own spark of light. And yes, maybe it sounds romantic, or maybe it sounds really impossible. It is a combination of both those things, because where you are, your internal world, your basic instincts tells you things. And this is why for many, many moons throughout the many years, I would say, I've always been a huge influencer of self-trust. And now in 2020 is a huge opening to what this kind of reality is becoming and what it is that we want to continue to create. And what I can tell you is that spirit babies are not rocked by 2020. They are not coming. And again, there's other things, I call it behind the scenes, a certain vibration that's coming into order. And yes, there is going to be tragedy and trauma in that. And yet at the same time, where is your place in this time? Where is your purpose? And purpose doesn't always mean career. I know that we tend to do that, and it definitely can. But the purpose, I feel like we all embody a certain purpose to be of service to our community, to be of service to ourselves, to be of service to expanding even further out to humanity. And so, as you are coming to this end, and again, major self-reflection, right? Major. I feel like now, especially in December, or maybe I don't know if it's because it's December or what it is, but I felt for probably 5 days now in a very ecstatic, enlightened, powerful energy in the heart space. It's like popping through. And it's not without tears. It's not without emotion. But I want to challenge you to, if you have emotion, whether it's tears or anger, to not try to fight to find the origin, right? It's like we always want to fight what is the reason? Give me the reason, everything will be okay. It won't, actually, on one level, because the mind wants the challenge, right? The mind says, well, I need something this way, you have to give it to me. And so I want you to just challenge yourself in that, because I know I've been in that place too. But also there's this realization that you come into in this emotional body that you are, especially for the feminine. And I know a lot of feminine beings are always tuning in. And yes, you have the balance of the feminine masculine, but that feminine primary energy of creation in the womb space, it needs a certain awareness. It needs a certain opening. Something that's, and again, it's not about perfection. It's not like, oh, you have to have the most perfect womb. You have to be completely cleared of all your traumas. I'm just asking, and what Baby World is asking, is just the little pieces. Even if you're bringing awareness in to these little dark cavities or these little pieces of shadow that want more light exposed to it, and how, how to digest that in such a loving and pure way. Because when you're relaxed in your body, when you're softening into your tension, you're going to be more receptive to hear, see, connect, and know where your next energy is going in this kind of 2021 kind of bridge over into this other experience of our lives. And it's going to be different for everybody. It's not supposed to be the same. But what I do know is being collaborative and being a collaborative creative with others. And in what I mean by that is connecting in circles. I do have I don't know why I'm saying it now because there's no space in there, but I have 2 groups that go monthly. It's called the Afterlife of Spirit Baby. There's a love circle and a healing circle, and I'm always thinking maybe there's another circle that wants to be formed, and it's a very intimate, sacred space of women who know that they have this inner mediumship connection, and don't let that word scare you. It's the connection of their babies that have passed on, whether through stillbirth or miscarriage, or whether that's, infancy loss after life, being on the earth for quite some time, maybe even older, and building that relation, building that connection, and that like-mindedness. Because as we know, in that like-minded energy, and we've known this for years, right, is that there's synergy between what is wanting to then be created around that. And so I definitely influence those that are tuning in to find your next level heart tribe. Who is that? What is that? And if you're one of these women that is saying, well, I don't know, women don't like me, you got to question that. If you have issues with women, then that there's something deeper in your own connection to your own feminine energy. But even beyond that is going into the connection of that connection of group. And so what I mean by that is, like if there's a Spirit Baby group or others that connect in that psychic space or that heartfelt space or that, earth worship space or divine space of worship, whatever it is, this is really important because it's going to be able to hold you accountable and expand and enlighten and move your energy in what you're meant to be and who you're supposed to be, especially if you're on this conception journey. And I have to say, without bragging, there's many women that I've been working with, and recently a lot of women are pregnant, and not just through natural conception, but with the support intervention conception. And it's just quite fascinating to see, how energies are always moving and shifting around. And even though maybe you get, you're getting the pregnancy test is continuously negative, and maybe you're going through IVF and you're questioning what that next step is, it's good to question things. You have to. Is this the right timing? Is this the right space? Am I in the right energy? What is this? This is where I'm a big promoter in the soul self, I would call it. What is that part? Yeah, this is, intervention, physical support, food, diet. This is all just a tiny of the pie of you, let's say. It's just a fraction of it. Not even. It's just like a tiny part. Well, what all that does is it helps you get to the core of where you are. And so this is why I was going to plug a little bit here, is why, next year Sacred Embryo is coming out for 8 weeks, and I will talk about that later. I feel like in that interchanging energy world, sometimes we have to get really quiet and see where is our action, where is our stillness, and then kind of move in that direction. And I have to say, when I see these women over the years, almost 3,000 spirit babies, the ones that really conceive, they're not following some specific order. And this is where I think, I feel like people get really nervous. There's not a specific template. Like if you do this magic template, then everything is going to be okay. What that tool and template does is it allows you to see who you are, where you are. And so these beautiful offerings that many have within the fertility world, some are just, more powerful than others. But your story is your story, even if there is success, right? It's like, what is your next level? What is expanding in there? And this is why, of course, there's such a big promotion in meditation. And meditation, doesn't have to look a certain way. I know that for sure. Meditation can look like a walking meditation, a dancing meditation, a singing meditation, an art creating meditation, what am I missing in here? I don't know. There's probably other meditations in there too, and there's sounds, there's being quiet, that's the Buddhist one, right? There is listening to visualizations, there's listening to being guided, and so there's so many different ways. And I feel like when you feel like you're getting stagnant or you're like frustrated, like where's baby, like this is ridiculous, I'm just over it, I'm so angry, I'm confused, I'm heartbroken, change the energy up. What is wanting to be changed? Is there some other deeper level that's not really being allowed? And what I mean by that is really, yet again, it comes back to awareness. And so I've had this special ability over the past, I would say, maybe 5 or 6 months. And this is why I know 2021 is awakening us to our other inner things that are happening around us. And for me, I have this ability, which I actually have never had before, is to see ancestral stuff with people. And not intentionally, it comes up. And I get confirmation because I say, hey, to this person, there's this issue in this organ that goes back to this. What is the story? Is this in your family tree? And so far, 100% of the time, they say, yes, that was my great, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm going, okay, there's something with the ancestral lineage. And I don't have a lot of information on that. And so in 2021, I will get speakers that talk more about that and to be of service in that way. But I feel like my place is just to give parts of your story, right? Parts of who you are and seeing what is this? Because you have a big story inside you. There's a lot of energy. You're very multidimensional. You're tapping in between so many different realities. And I get to see those realities. You get to feel them and know them, but your mind may challenge you and say, well, we don't know what this is, so we're just going to put it aside. Plus, I feel like 2020 has been, so full of fear and intensity and brainwash and seduction and media. So then you become more disconnected from your own self-awareness and your body of being. And so that is really big because Spirit Baby is ramping your energy up. Your baby is working with you in so many ways. But baby is a very highly intelligent soul. So you can't put so many, this is what a lot of people do, and it's very hard not to because we're human beings and we have this limitation of our world, is that we put ideas on what baby wants or what they should. Like baby is not just waiting next to you. They're not just waiting. It's more than waiting because in their world, there's no sense of waiting. There's no space of time. And so, of course, I'm always very conscientious of bringing that language a certain way and saying certain things. And so it's so easy to make assumptions and interpretations. But I want to challenge you, if you're on this conception fertility journey for quite some time, to see if you can get quiet in a way that brings in something different. What part of your inner awareness do you need in collaboration with baby? And don't become frustrated by that. Let's say you're sitting in the quiet and you're going day after day and you're going, wait a second, what am I getting? Listen to that because there is a message in those connections. And Spirit Baby doesn't have to satiate your ego. Oh, that could be a really ouchy thing to feel right now because what I mean by that is the satiation of the ego is like, well, I need you to tell me everything's okay. I need you to tell me you're coming. I need you. And that is a perpetual kind of space of fear. And so whatever, going into trust, reminding yourself, what is it in my own heart that I trust? Because when you're in your body and you're trusting in the connection to who you are, you don't have to trust your physical body. I don't, you could say, I don't like you, I don't know what's happening, and there could be a lesson in that journey for you. And again, you don't have to be fully invested in your body. You can be as embodied as you allow yourself to be, which is why I love somatic practices. yoga, movement, mindfulness, body awareness, somatic therapy, somatic experiencing, EMDR, energy work, Reiki, polarity therapy, IET, all these different things that are energetic but also embodiment. And we can't just have one or the other. And the biggest piece on your conception journey, and you probably know this, is your mental space. Your mental space, your life that you grew up in, maybe even your own infancy. Maybe next year I'll do a podcast on that. What does it even mean to connect with your own inner infant? We always talk about the inner child, right? We all have a very loud, sometimes our inner child throws tantrums. Sometimes our inner child is just ready to play. And there is something telling in that space, right? We all grow up with different traumas, whether big traumas or small traumas, and our nervous system downloads all that. And so how we interact and react to the world is very telling of our nervous system and how we grew up. And I see more of that now too, because I myself have invested in a nervous system reboot and a new kind of look on my own autonomic nervous system, which I will bring a lot into the new year. I'm very excited about that, and because my own journey is going to bring in this other piece for others in this mediumship meets somatic psychology, because I do feel like when we know our bodies weren't embodied and we're being really expressive with it, we're allowed to hear things in a certain way. And this is amazing, your embodiment on a conception journey. How does that not come together? And it does, and it is what your baby wants from you. Like you're here, you're tuning in, because you're not just some regular, I wouldn't say some just regular Joe, not to offend anyone with the name Joe. There's something different about you. There's an awareness. There's a sparkling connection that understands something more. But maybe you question it at times and you're not sure what that more is. Or maybe you haven't had enough community connecting in a way that then tells you, yeah, of course, this is your power. This is your strength. Where is that? Use that. You're an empath, maybe. You're psychically aligned. It's like, using that and feeling good about it, feeling confident in it. Even when you feel a lack of insecurity with it, that's fine too. But seeing where you want to weigh that out. Do you want to be always in that negative space of complaint and pain and suffering? You can be. A lot of people do live there, have that option. Or do you want to shift in and go, well, I can have that heaviness and that pain and suffering, but does it have to be a majority of my life? Can I then be inspired into creative energy, into dreaminess, into what's next to come? And I feel like we'll definitely do a podcast in 2021. The dreaminess is really important, actually. It's not just a fantasy. It's a creative energy. To me, when I even say that, it reminds me of like fluffy clouds of rainbow light mixed in there. It's like I'm going to play with it. I'm going to expand with it. And it's good to give visual connection to energy, because energy is its own form, right? Energy, it cannot be destroyed. It's always in creation. It's almost like you can touch it, but you can't touch it. It's not this kind of object, right? Because that's what we do with our minds. We need to feel the object. But the energetic sense is its own sense and own awareness, just like touching, tasting, and smelling is. And so you may be on this conception journey, and I feel like I've filled the energy with so much, really, offerings for you to continue to surrender into this end of 2020. If you have to have a tantrum, then you have that tantrum. If you have to just shake it out, then you shake it out. But 2021 is not set up for you to feel like you're failing or to feel like that you're not allowed to have this being in your life. There are other elements put into place, whether it's partnership energy on their lineage, whether it's ancestral, whether it's past life, which I see very quite often with a lot of losses. And so being open to challenge your own psychic space, being open to challenge your life. Again, remember, as I always say, new energy, is the energy just the same? Why is that? What's happening? Provoke, provoke, provoke. And you're doing it for your family, for creation. And I love this term, the new world. I really do love that term. So I'm going to say for the new world and for baby connecting. And I do feel like, even over this past week, there is incredible shifting. And sometimes it's to me, I feel very elated and I feel the euphoria around it. But I don't always feel those when shifting happens. Sometimes I go dark into the cave. I mean, it really depends on where we're at and what's wanting to come about that. But I do feel like baby energy, how I can give you an inner vision of it is that baby is riding the light into this new frequency. It's like they're jumping on a comet of energy and they're just kind of, we're just coming through, and I'm going to come into this space with my mother, with my father, with my siblings. This is my moment, right? Without over analyzing, without overthinking, without over insisting, without over assuming. But what about our pregnancy energy? There's so many women, spirit communication and pregnancy, which we call pre-birth communication. Moving from fertility to pregnancy, as I see all these different pregnant women just, holding the energy of creation as a part of them, not so much within them. Of course it's within them, but it's a part of them, right? Because it's a collaborative effort, pregnancy. It's not a one-sided experience. And, it does arrive in different ways. It's not just about, there's an embryo adoption, there's adoption, there's surrogacy, and there's, the self, of course, going through natural conception or intervention conception to move into pregnancy, that solid pregnancy where baby can form a body, a vessel that's healthy and that's ready to go. I like that, ready to go. Like, here we go, let's sign up. And I just kind of reflecting now on the babies I've connected with in 2020. It's so much fun. I have to say fun, because pregnancy communication is very different. When I work with people, I'm not scanning really deep into the sacral, because in fertility, I'm like looking really deep behind all the different doorways and like, what is this next issue? So with pregnancy, it's more of like, oh, what does baby want to say? What's happening? And of course, people have so many things to ask. What's my baby? Have we shared past lives together with my baby? And what is their purpose? What is their personality? Who are they? And it's so fun because once the energy gets going, and I always have to ask permission when I come into the space. I'm like, okay, baby, like it's like me. I can't just go into someone's house and pull someone out of it because I want them to. I have to kind of sit there and wait for these energies to come. And then once baby starts talking, it's a really fun conversation. I feel like it is. But I also, in that pregnancy energy, besides talking to baby, we do, looking at ways like, what does this birth look like? What does this next piece look like? How does mom, typically mom is what I see, how does she continue to build a relationship in pregnancy? And I do want to celebrate that. Anybody that's pregnant, I feel like we should all hold good energy right now. Congratulations is the energy that you're deserving of it, and there's something coming together for it. And it's okay to be in an in-between place in pregnancy. I know there's a lot of feelings that come up around pregnancy, and it's all new to you. It's a new connection. Even each pregnancy is new and different, and you get to be present to that. And so spirit communication and pregnancy, not that different than conception. I mean, the only difference is that your body's in change, but even how babies communicate and connect, it's not that different. And so tuning in, receiving that. If you're in conception and you're still in a struggle, feel the synergy of pregnancy. Is pregnancy in your auric field? Can you invite that dreamy space? Remember that kind of rainbow cloud of energy. Can you really invite that? And not just in your thoughts. Not in the thoughts. And I've caught people on that. People laugh in their sessions. I say, you're putting so many thoughts in that visual space into your body, but what does that mean? That's just thoughts. Where is the true sense of embodiment? Emotional reaction, embodiment. I've been saying this for more than 6 years. I think now it's becoming a thing. People are starting to get it. And there's going to be more things coming as I come back to the word Reddit, right? The new world. There's more things coming together, more abilities and talents. Someone was just telling me, which was so amazing, these new abilities and talents. And I was like, wow, that makes sense, because I started feeling like I had some, and I see it with other people that don't even know the power that they have on a soul level. I'm like, whoa, it's like, that's fascinating to me. I love that synchronicity. I don't follow a lot of spiritual teachers. Maybe people think I do. There's like one or two people, but I don't follow them religiously, or like, I have to be inspired by my own soul self to say, who do you want to connect with? Who do you have synergy with now? Who Who do you want to, be sharing energy with in this information? Because it is outside information, and I'm very mindful of that. So I love when my synergistic inside information matches a lot of these, I'd say, spiritual leaders. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because, especially if you're empathic and you're listening, there's a lot of synchronicity, which would make sense. And so, I'm very I appreciate that, and I love that we can have these kind of different connections. And so moving in, we're going into that new world fertility, new world pregnancy, and, there were a lot of births that happened that were on eggshells, right? You're very nervous, like, what's this whole COVID time? What's this energy of pandemic? What's this, and how do you give birth, into that? And there are pieces to that, right? Because your nervous system in pregnancy is very important, because you're setting your nervous system up for your child. Not to put pressure on that for you, but it is a very responsible place to have to go to really keep that energy, in a balanced, peaceful kind of state. Because again, and you can't think your way out of it. The thought process is a part of it, but you really have to do embodiment practices, even in pregnancy. And you deserve it. You are growing this being into life. Like, this is work. This is some hard work. And so I feel like we can all together, those that are tuning in, holding this beautiful, graceful, divine energy of pregnancy, this creative life force that is a part of our new world. And I want to go into here in this end of 2020 for new beginnings. How do we, of course, it's like a rebirth, and looking at even loss. The loss of conception is in there, because some people go year after year after year. There's a huge sense of loss and grief around that. And the loss of miscarriage. I know multiple miscarriage is very, I would say, rampant in my world, because I know that there's some major energy around multiple loss, and because a lot of people, more than usual, and probably becoming more common, coming into my space for more of that one-on-one private space support, that there is something in this between of creation and death, right? And so there's so many different pieces to that, and what your connection is to that is yours. You can get definitely loving and healing support and working out that piece and going inward and seeing what is this next piece. And, besides the miscarriage, of course, there's abortion, which I also feel is kind of rampant. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's a lot. Like, there's so many babies in this, whatever that agreement is of abortion. And even women that go through abortion, it's not, most women I know, I would say 99.9% of women feel horrible and feel like it was their only option because it had to be medical, or it was a life, but there's still an agreement somewhere in there. I can't help but say that. And I know that it's a whole other topic to talk about, because I feel like our world has really misinformed and altered our perceptions on what it means to have reproductive rights and what it means to go through this. Well, if you're somebody that's gone through an abortion, you have to create a ritual around that, because there is death in that, and there is grief, and there is what I call postpartum death, even after. Women think, I'm going to feel fine and everything's good. No, they don't. Of course you don't, because you've experienced death. And so I challenge you to go into those spaces. And not only that, but I do have a podcast. I think 2 podcasts about abortion. Maybe one is more recent. In the past, I'd say maybe even in 2020 I did one. There's one I did in the very beginning, which I think it's okay. I'm more promoting the more recent one, because energies always change, and I have a different perception of it. But if you are going through loss, miscarriage, abortion, be kind with yourself. Your heart needs a hug. Your heart needs to be held. You need so much love. And not to add in there, of course, if you're in, you've had a stillbirth, which is a whole other level of, birthing, because you may be birthing your child that is not alive. And so there is connection in there. There is baby connection in there. And I do want to share more of those stories in books someday, because I do see a lot of women who have had stillbirths that move into conception, and that the babies, the siblings, communicate, like where one sibling says, let's say, someone's son died, and the son's like, well, my brother's coming, or my sister's coming, and I'm seeing that come true. And so there's something happening behind the scenes, is what I call it, right, in that communication world. But it's not easy. This is why I have those groups that I talked about earlier, is that what do you do once you've had loss, and how do you build that connection and still have trust and faith in your body and in this being that's coming into your life? There's not one way to do it, and it looks different for everybody, but the healing is there. There's an opportunity to become embodied still and to pay attention to that and to see what your own life purpose is in the new world. And so spirit communication, baby communication on that level of loss, working with baby energies. Sometimes other baby energies come in, and maybe you're someone in 2020, like this is a great year of much loss, not just loss of human beings, of sacrifice really for this big change of consciousness. And I know everything looks like so accidental or so but things are not set up as accidents. We set them up that way because we don't know how to make sense of them. But everything has a bit of an order if you can kind of soften into that. Not that things are predictable 100%, but there's a lot of the energy, there's a sense of alignment, and together collectively we continue to build that. And so, yes, 2020 is the great year of much loss, but this is where rebirth is always connected to loss, right? And that's the hard piece, because if you're going through, especially a recent birth loss, you're in that spiral of grief. You're in that space of suffering, but there is energy in that, and there is purpose, right? And there is a way to nourish and nurture your way along the path. And I feel like with all these women with death, so much baby death, right? And I always feel like, go connect with baby on that deep level, go there, get the symbols, get the signs, see what that relationship's about. And I really feel strong about that. And I know it's just such a earth-dense place to go into, because it just feels so textural in the body. It just feels so painful in the heart, and maybe even anxiety and all these mental mood issues come up around that. But it's not meant to torture you. It's not meant because you're a bad person or, you did something wrong. No. There's something else in that. And that's where I would say more on a private level, I take people into those spaces of what I call grief mentorship, to really just, soften underneath and go into, there's this, the reasons for birth loss is multi-leveled. It's not, okay, well, it's this one thing, because that's what our mind wants. Give me that one thing. It's not that one thing. It never will be that one thing. But you get to see that. You get to be in that. You get to see what next unfolds. And I've seen many women go from loss, multiple loss, to babies, to having babies, birthing babies. On occasion, not many people have my address, but on occasion, people that have come in person a long time ago, right? It's like a long time ago. I get little cards. I love it. Or I get to see them in person and hold their babies earthside. And so I love that. I love this, okay, there's baby being. And, of course, when I see these little pictures of these babies, I want to, hug them and snuggle them and just celebrate with everybody. Celebrate, especially, I know when losses, it's like, oh, my gosh, this being came through the wave of loss, of so much sadness and so much sorrow. But they're here, and they're strong, and they're ready to connect. And so asking yourself, taking that moment, so much energy. I feel like I've just been moving through with spirit baby is a possibility into this world. Your spirit baby or babies are not just imaginations or thoughts. They are intelligent life forces of souls with history and connection. And you have to see, what does that mean for you? Are you ready to give this being a body? Is that being ready to take a body? And are all the energies all aligned? And how do you know how to trust that? This is the piece that's valuable. You trust it. You continue to feel your sense of alignment, and you trust it. And so now I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Solstice, and to be able to continue to hold the inner vision of your own heart. Surrender with baby, dance with baby, maybe even serenade your baby. This will help your mind. Do a dance. Put the music on, your own private space, and move. Say, this is moving. I want to move energy for this journey. Conception, pregnancy, birth, I am moving, and energy is moving. And I'm not listening to my mind. I am just moving my body and listening to how it wants to move. And I'm serenading you, my spirit baby. I'm here. We are together. I know that. I trust that. I live that. And now I just want to tell you, as before we're coming up to the end of this final podcast for 2020, I want to offer you a little advertisement here. It is available. It actually is available now. It just came out days ago. Sacred Embryo. Communication begins the deeper journey. It is 8 weeks, and it is 8 weeks of a powerhouse. Because why I say that is because I know that the consciousness of what Spirit Baby has brought to me, it's changing. And I feel the babies are so much stronger than before, saying, we need to get these we need to come. We need to be here. And let's do this. Let's do this, Kelly. Can you help us somehow? I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'll do what I could do. I don't know. And in those 8 weeks, I'm actually doing something different. I'm doing it live. It's going to be on Saturdays, so it meets the needs of Northern Hemisphere, also some of Europe. Sorry, I couldn't get any expanded more, time zones in there, but everybody's welcome around the world to join. And I do have a limited space now because I do want to keep a sacred kind of connection of the group's energy. But I love that it's going to be live again, and it's going to have exercises, meditations. There's going to be bonuses and, really kind of ramping up, recharging your energy for the new year, 2021. What do you want to bring into this new world on your conception journey, in your own inner life? What is this next part of change? And being open to it, welcome it. You can check out my website, soulbabycommunication.com, learn more about Sacred Embryo. Always feel free to email me and my Spirit Baby team at spiritbabymedium@gmail.com. Many blessings into the end for new beginnings. Thank you for joining episode 103, New World Energies, Conception Magic, Biology of Consciousness, and Spiritual Endings for 2020.
This is Spirit Baby Radio. Thank you for joining Kelly in the energy of awareness, love, healing, and soul communication. Please join the next episode at www.soulbabycommunication.com.